The ships came without warning on a quiet morning. Yuna stood at the window of her classroom on the colony world of New Busan. She was a young teacher with kind eyes and a gentle voice. 23 children sat behind her, working on their lessons. The sky outside was blue and peaceful, just like every other day. Then the shadows fell. Massive ships blocked the sun. They were not human ships. They were the silver vessels of the Velith, the oldest and most powerful species in the Galactic Council. Yuna had seen pictures of them before. She had never seen them in person. Nobody on New Busan had. The children ran to the windows. Some of them pointed and laughed. They thought it was exciting. They did not understand. Yuna understood. Her hands began to shake. The doors of the school exploded inward. Velith soldiers marched through the halls. They were tall beings, with gray skin and 4 arms. Their faces showed no emotion. Their weapons hummed with terrible energy. "All human children will come with us," the lead soldier announced. His voice was cold and flat. "This is by order of the Galactic Council. Resolution 7742. Do not resist. Resolution." Yuna stepped in front of her students. "You cannot take them. These are children. They have done nothing wrong." The soldier looked at her. His dark eyes held no mercy. "Human children have been declared genetically dangerous. They will be taken to rehabilitation stations for proper raising. This is for the safety of the galaxy." End quote. "Actually related Ox. That is insane," Yuna said. "They are just children." The soldier raised his weapon. "Move aside, or you will be moved." Yuna did not move. She could not move. Behind her, the children began to cry. Another soldier grabbed her and threw her against the wall. Pain exploded through her body. She fell to the floor and watched helplessly as they took her students. She watched them take her 7-year-old nephew, Do-hyun. He screamed her name as they dragged him away. "Aunt Yuna! Aunt Yuna! Help me!" She tried to stand. She tried to run after him, but her legs would not work, and the soldiers were already gone. The ships lifted into the sky, carrying 47 children from her school, across New Busan, across 12 human colony worlds. The same scene repeated. Over 200,000 children were taken that day. The galaxy had maintained peace for 15,000 years. Humanity had joined the Galactic Council only 300 years ago. They were newcomers, outsiders, tolerated, but never respected. The Council saw humans as primitive creatures who had barely learned to travel between stars. Elder Corvus of the Velith stood before the Council the next day. He was ancient, even by Velith standards. His gray skin was wrinkled, and his 4 hands moved slowly as he spoke. "Human children are dangerous," he explained. "They show uncontrolled emotional patterns. They adapt too quickly. They learn too fast. If left with their own kind, they will grow into a threat against galactic peace. We have done humanity a favor. Their children will be raised properly. They will be taught to be calm, to be peaceful, to be safe." Many council members nodded. They had always been uncomfortable with humans. Humans were too loud, too emotional, too unpredictable. Perhaps this was for the best. On Earth, Admiral Taeho received the emergency messages. He was a tall man with gray hair and a hard face. He had served in the military for 30 years. He had never lost a battle, but when he read the reports, his hands trembled. His daughter Somi was 9 years old. She had been taken from Luna Academy. He had spoken to her just 2 days ago. She had told him about her science project. She had asked when he would come home. Now she was gone. Taeho walked to the window of his command ship. He looked out at the stars. Somewhere out there, his daughter was frightened and alone. "Sir," his officer said quietly, "what do? We get them back." Taeho answered. His voice was steady, but his eyes were not. "Whatever it takes," We get them all back. Ambassador Hansu was an old man who had spent 40 years building friendships with alien species. He believed in diplomacy. He believed that talking could solve any problem. He flew to the Galactic Council and requested an emergency session. He stood before 847 species. He spoke with passion and with reason. He showed images of crying parents. He explained that humans loved their children more than anything. He begged the council to return them. "We are not your enemies," Hansu said. "We have followed your laws. We have paid our taxes. We have served in your peacekeeping forces. Why would you do this to us? Please, give us back our children." Elder Corvaz responded without emotion. "The decision has been made. Human children are a danger to galactic stability. They will remain in our care. This discussion is over." The council voted. 847 species against 1. Humanity's single vote meant nothing. The children would not be returned. Hansu flew back to Earth. He felt older than he had ever felt. He had believed in peace his whole life. He had believed that reason could defeat cruelty. He had been wrong. President Yunji waited for him. She was a former general with cold eyes and a steady voice. She had fought in 3 wars before becoming president. She knew what battle looked like. She knew what sacrifice meant. "They said no," Hansu told her. His voice broke as he spoke. Yunji did not react. She stood at her window and looked up at the night sky. Somewhere among those stars, 200,000 children waited for rescue. Somewhere among those stars, aliens thought they had won. They were wrong. "Then we will not ask again," Yunji said quietly. Hansu looked at her. "What will we do?" The president turned to face him. Her eyes were hard as stone. "We will remind the galaxy why humans survived on Earth for 100,000 years. We will remind them why we conquered our planet before we ever reached the stars. We will show them what happens when you threaten human children." She pressed a button on her desk. Across human space, factories began to wake. Shipyards powered up. Soldiers received orders. "The galaxy has known peace for 15,000 years, Yunji said. "That peace ends now." 3 months passed after the children were taken. The galaxy watched humanity and saw nothing. Human trade ships stopped flying. Human factories went dark. Human communications fell silent. The council believed that humanity had collapsed. They thought the primitive species had broken under the weight of their loss. Elder Corvus smiled when he heard the reports. "As expected," he said to his advisors. "Humans are emotional creatures. They cannot function when upset. In a few more months, they will accept the situation. They will move on. They will thank us for saving their children from their own dangerous nature." His advisors agreed. Humans were weak. They were all wrong. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, in bunkers that no alien had ever seen, humanity was building. Every factory that went dark was secretly working at full power. Every shipyard that closed was building warships. Every silent communication was actually encrypted planning. General Minho stood in the center of the largest command room ever built. He was only 34 years old, the youngest strategic commander in human history. His mind worked like a computer, calculating every possibility, planning every move. One wall of his command room was covered with photographs. 200,000 faces. 200,000 children. He looked at that wall every morning when he arrived. He looked at it every night before he left. "Status report," he said. His officers answered one by one. Ship production was ahead of schedule. Weapons systems were ready. Soldiers were trained. Intelligence was gathered. "How many ships?" Minho asked. 4,000 combat-ready vessels, sir. Hidden in asteroid fields. Across the galaxy. The Council thought humanity had only 200 ships. They had not watched closely. They had not cared enough to count. That mistake would cost them everything. On a distant Velith colony, a woman named Gina lived a secret life. She had undergone genetic modification 15 years ago to look like a Velith. She walked among them. She worked with them. She listened to them. Nobody knew she was human. Gina had access to the Velith military database. Every night, she copied files. Every week, she transmitted data back to Earth. Locations of the rehabilitation stations, guard rotations, defense systems, weaknesses. She knew that if she was caught, she would die. She did not care. Her younger brother had been taken in the seizure. He was 11 years old and loved to draw pictures of spaceships. She would burn the galaxy to get him back. Colonel Siok received Gina's transmissions on Earth. He was a quiet man with sharp eyes and a perfect memory. He compiled every piece of information into a master plan. He knew where every child was held. He knew how to reach them. He knew how to bring them home. We have complete intelligence on all 847 stations, Siok reported to General Minho. Every guard post, every patrol schedule, every shield frequency, every post 40, every Kentro, every post 40, Minho nodded. And the children? Their conditions? Siok's face darkened. They are alive, but the reports say they are being reprogrammed. The Velith are trying to remove their human emotions. They are trying to make them calm and obedient. Minho's hands tightened into fists. How much time do we have? If we wait too long, the children may not remember who they are. Across human space, 12 million soldiers waited. They had volunteered for this mission. Every single one. When the call went out, humanity had answered together. Old enemies became allies. Political differences disappeared. Religious conflicts vanished. For the first time in human history, there was only one purpose: bring the children home. Dr. Nari was a military psychologist. Her job was to prepare the soldiers for what was coming. She stood before 10,000 troops and spoke with a steady voice. The galaxy thinks we are weak because we feel emotions, she said. They took our children because they feared what those children might become. They were right to fear, but they made a terrible mistake. They should have feared us more. Form. The soldiers listened in silence. When we attack, you will feel anger. You will feel rage. You will want revenge. That is normal. That is human. But remember why we fight. We fight to save children. We fight to bring them home. Do not let anger make you sloppy. Do not let rage make you careless. Be precise. Be efficient. Be the warriors that humanity needs. The soldiers nodded. They understood. On the last day before the deadline, Ambassador Hansu returned to the Galactic Council. He looked different now. Thinner. Older. His diplomatic smile was gone. His eyes were empty and cold. I have come to deliver a final message, he announced. Elder Corvus looked amused. Have you come to beg again, human? No. Hansu's voice was flat. I have come to give you one last chance. Return our children within 24 hours. This is not a negotiation. This is a notification. Laughter spread through the council chamber. 847 species found this very funny. A single human, threatening the greatest alliance in galactic history. Corvus leaned forward. Humanity should remember its place. You are infants in a galaxy of ancients. You have 200 ships. We have 2 million. What could you possibly do? Hansu turned to leave. At the door, he paused. He looked back at the council one final time. You asked what we could do, he said quietly. You will learn. You will learn why the universe made humans afraid of the dark. And why is that? Corvus asked, still smiling. It was to give the darkness something to fear. Hansu walked out. The council laughed behind him. They thought it was a joke. They thought he was being dramatic. They would learn the truth soon enough. Across the galaxy, 4,000 human warships powered up their engines. 12 million soldiers checked their weapons. 200,000 photographs hung on walls, carried in pockets, stored in hearts. The deadline passed at midnight. General Minho stood before his officers. His voice was calm and clear. "It is time," he said. "All ships, begin the attack. Bring our children home." The first shots of the war were fired 3 seconds later. 15,000 years of peace ended in fire. At exactly midnight, the galaxy changed forever. 4,000 human warships appeared from nowhere. They had been hiding in asteroid fields, in empty space, behind moons and dead planets. For 3 months, they had waited in silence. Now they struck. Captain Junho commanded the assault on Rehabilitation Station 7. His twin sons, age 8, were held there. He had not slept more than 3 hours a night since they were taken. He had memorized every detail of the station. He knew exactly where his boys were kept. "All weapons ready," his officer reported. "Fire," Junyu ordered. 30 missiles hit the station's shields at the same moment. The shields, designed to stop pirates and small meteors, collapsed in 6 seconds. No one had ever attacked a council facility with this much force. No one had ever dared. Across the galaxy, the same scene repeated. 847 stations. 847 simultaneous attacks. Every single facility hit at the exact same moment. Elder Corvus was sleeping when his advisor woke him. The Velith leader stumbled to his command center and stared at the screens. Red alerts covered the entire galaxy. "What is happening?" he demanded. "The humans," his advisor whispered. "They are attacking everything. Every station. All at once. Impossible. They only have 200 ships. They have 4,000 Elder. They built them in secret. They hid them from us." Corvus felt something he had not felt in centuries. "How?" he asked. "How did they build 4,000 warships in 3 months?" His advisor had no answer. Nobody did. The galaxy had thought humans were primitive. The galaxy had thought humans were weak. The galaxy had been terribly wrong. On Station 7, Commander Yoon led his Special Forces team through the corridors. They moved fast and quiet, like shadows with guns. The station was designed for Velith, beings twice the size of humans. The humans used this to their advantage. They fit into spaces the Velith could not follow. They moved through vents and maintenance tunnels. Yoon's mission was simple: find the children, kill anyone who tried to stop him. His team reached the detention level in 4 minutes. They killed 32 guards in 2 minutes more. They lost no one. The door to the children's dormitory stood before them. Yoon nodded to his soldiers. They breached the door with explosive charges and rushed inside. 200 children huddled in the corner. They wore gray uniforms. Their heads were shaved. Their eyes were empty and scared. The Velith had been working on them, trying to remove their human nature, trying to make them obedient and calm. It had not worked. When the children saw human soldiers, something changed in their eyes. Something woke up. A small boy stepped forward. He looked at the soldiers with wonder and hope. "Are you here to take us home?" he asked. Commander Yoon knelt before him. His voice was gentle, so different from the warrior who had killed guards moments ago. "Yes," he said. "All of you. Every single one. We are taking you home." The boy started to cry. Then all the children were crying. But these were different tears. These were tears of joy. President Unji broadcast her message to the entire galaxy. Every species, every world, every ship heard her words. For 15,000 years, you have known peace. You have forgotten what war looks like. You have forgotten what humans are capable of. Today, we remind you. She paused. Her eyes were hard as diamonds. You stole 200,000 of our children. You thought we would do nothing. You thought we would accept this. You were wrong. We are taking them back. Every single child. Anyone who stands between us and our children will be removed. This is not anger. This is not revenge. This is simply what humans do. We protect our own. We never stop. We never give up. And we never forgive those who hurt our children." The message ended. Across the galaxy, species that had laughed at humanity fell silent. They watched human ships tear through Veleth defenses. They watched human soldiers rescue children with terrible efficiency. They began to understand. Humanity was not weak. Humanity had never been weak. They had simply been peaceful because they chose to be. They had followed the rules because they wanted to get along. But when their children were threatened, the rules no longer mattered. Lieutenant Bora piloted her cruiser through a wall of enemy fire. 3 transport ships flew behind her, carrying 500 rescued children. A Veleth carrier blocked their escape route. "The carrier is too strong," her officer said. "We cannot get past it." Bora looked at her controls. Her ship was damaged. Her weapons were nearly empty. She had one option left. "Evacuate all non-essential crew to the transport ships," she ordered. "I am going to ram the carrier." "Lieutenant, you will die." "Maybe. But those children will live." She flew her cruiser directly at the carrier's engine core. The explosion was massive. The carrier broke apart. The transport ships escaped through the gap. Bora survived. Barely. Rescue teams found her floating in space, protected by her emergency suit. She woke up in a hospital 3 days later. "The children?" she asked immediately. "Safe," the doctor told her. "All 500. Because of you." Bora smiled and closed her eyes. That was all that mattered. On Station 7, Captain Junho finally found his sons. They were in a small room, huddled together on a single bed. When they saw their father, they ran to him. "Dad!" Junho held them tight. Tears ran down his face. He had not cried since he was a child himself. He cried now. "I told you," he whispered. "I told you I would come. I will always come for you." End quote. Across the galaxy, parents and children reunited. Ships carried the rescued home. The war was not over yet. Many battles remained. But the children were coming back, and humanity would not stop until every single one was safe. 6 months passed since the first attack. The galaxy had never seen anything like this war. Human ships fought in ways that confused and terrified their enemies. They did not follow the proper rules of combat. They did not fly in neat formations. They adapted. They improvised. They sacrificed themselves in ways that made alien commanders freeze in horror. General Minho watched the battle reports from his command center. Every day brought new victories. Every day brought children home. But every day also brought losses. Human soldiers died by the thousands. Ships burned in the darkness of space. "Sir," an officer reported, "we have recovered 173,000 children. 27,000 remain in enemy hands." "Where are they?" Minho asked. "Scattered across 47 stations. The Veleth are moving them constantly to avoid our attacks." Minho studied the map. The enemy was desperate now. They knew they could not win. But they refused to surrender. They clung to the remaining children like shields. "We adapt," Minho said. "Send smaller teams. Hit them where they do not expect. Do not let them rest." On the colony world of New Busan, Yuna waited at the spaceport every day. Transport ships arrived constantly now. She searched every face, every crowd, hoping, praying. 3 months after the war began, she finally saw him. Do-hyun walked down the ramp of a transport ship. He was taller now, thinner. His eyes looked old, too old for a child. But when he saw her, something changed. The little boy she remembered appeared again. "Aunt Yuna!" he cried. She ran to him. She held him so tight she thought she might break him. She did not care. He was alive. He was home. "They told us you forgot about us," Do-hyun whispered into her shoulder. "They said humans do not really love their children. They said we were better off with them." Yuna pulled back and looked at his face. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "Never," she said. "Not for 1 second. Not for 1 moment. We fought a war for you. We burned the galaxy for you. We will always come for you." The Galactic Council was falling apart. For 15,000 years, the Velith had led the Alliance. Other species had followed, because they had no choice. But now, they watched humanity destroy Velith fleets. Now they saw the truth. The Velith were not invincible. They were just old. Species that had resented Velith control for centuries began to turn. Some refused to fight against humans. Some secretly provided supplies and intelligence. Some opened their borders to human ships. Elder Corvus screamed at the council. "You must stand together. You must fight." A delegate from the Moron species stood. She was small and quiet. A member of a race that had been silent for 1,000 years. "Will they?" she asked. "Or will they only destroy those who stole their children? The humans have not attacked our worlds. They have not threatened our people. They fight only to recover what was taken. Perhaps if we had not taken it, there would be no war." Corvus stared at her with rage. "You dare blame us? I dare speak the truth. We should have stopped you. We did not. That makes us guilty too." 2. More delegates stood. More voices joined. The alliance was breaking, and nothing could stop it. Admiral Tejo led the final assault. His flagship, the Soul's Vengeance, cut through enemy defenses like a knife through paper. Behind him flew 300 ships, the best humanity had. His target was Station Prime, the most heavily defended facility in Velith space. The last 5,000 children were held there, including his daughter Somi. 9 months. She had been gone for 9 months. He had watched recordings of her every night. Her voice, her laugh, her face when she told him about her science project. He had memorized every detail. "Entering weapons range," his officer announced. "All ships, precision targeting only," Tejo commanded. "There are children in that station. I want surgical strikes. Damage their weapons. Damage their shields. But do not, under any circumstances, hit the sections where children are held. We did not come this far to harm what we came to save." The battle was brutal. Velith ships threw themselves at the human fleet. Station Prime fired everything it had. Human ships burned and died in the crossfire. But humanity did not stop. 2 hours later, the station's defenses fell. Rescue teams breached the hull at 17 points simultaneously. They spread through the facility like water, flowing into every corner, finding every child. Tejo led one of the teams personally. Admirals were not supposed to fight on the ground. He did not care. His daughter was here. He would find her, himself. He moved through corridors filled with smoke and debris. His soldiers cleared the way. They killed the guards who resisted. They accepted the surrender of those who gave up. Finally, he reached the detention level. The doors opened. 300 children huddled inside. They were scared and confused. They did not know what was happening. But when they saw human soldiers, they began to hope. Tejo scanned the crowd. He searched for her face. He searched for her eyes. There, in the corner, a small girl with dark hair and bright eyes. She was holding the hand of a younger child, protecting her even now. "Somi," he whispered. She looked up. She saw him. Her eyes went wide. "Dad?" He crossed the room in 3 steps. He fell to his knees and wrapped his arms around her. He held her like she might disappear if he let go. "I knew you would come," she said. Her voice was steady and strong. "I told everyone. I said my dad would come. I said he would never give up." Tejo could not speak. Tears choked his voice. He just held her and thanked every star in the universe that she was alive. The war was nearly over. The children were coming home, and humanity had proven something to the galaxy. They had proven that some things matter more than peace. Some things matter more than rules. Some things matter more than life itself. family, children. Threaten these, and humanity would break anything that stood in their way. Even 15,000 years of peace. 1 year after the war ended, the galaxy looked very different. The Galactic Council no longer existed. In its place stood the Galactic Assembly, a new organization built on new rules. Humanity held a permanent seat at the head table. Not because they had demanded it, not because they had threatened anyone. The other species had insisted. They had learned their lesson. Elder Corvus sat in a prison cell on Earth, waiting for his trial. He had ruled the galaxy for 3,000 years. Now he sat alone in a small room, guarded by the species he had called primitive. Ambassador Hansu visited him once. The old diplomat looked healthier now. Color had returned to his face, but his eyes still carried memories of the war. "Why did you come?" Corvus asked. Hansu sat across from him. "I wanted to understand. Why did you take them? Why the children?" Corvus was silent for a long moment. When he spoke, his voice was tired. "We watched humanity for 300 years. We saw your violence, your wars, your conflicts, but we also saw something that frightened us. Your children. They adapted so fast. They learned so quickly. They grew stronger with every generation. We calculated that in 500 years, humans would be more powerful than any species in the galaxy. So you tried to stop us by taking our children. We tried to change them, to make them calm, to remove their dangerous potential." Corvus laughed bitterly. "We thought we were being clever. We thought we understood humans. We understood nothing." Hansu stood to leave. At the door, he paused. "You were right about one thing," he said. "Our children are remarkable. But you made a terrible mistake. You thought our love for them was a weakness. It was always our greatest strength." End quote. Across human space, the returned children adjusted to normal life. It was not easy. Many had nightmares. Many could not sleep without the lights on. Many had forgotten what normal life felt like. Dr. Nari established the Reconnection Initiative. She brought together the children and the soldiers who had saved them. They met every week. They talked. They healed together. Commander Yoon visited the children from Station 7 every Sunday. The same children he had rescued now ran to greet him with hugs and laughter. They called him Uncle Yoon. They showed him their drawings and told him about their weeks. The small boy who had asked if they came to take them home was named Jiho. He was 10 years old now. He wanted to be a soldier when he grew up. "Why a soldier?" Yoon asked him. "Because you saved us," Jiho said. "I want to save people too." Yoon smiled. He did not tell the boy about the nightmares. He did not tell him about the faces of the guards he had killed. Some lessons could wait. On New Busan, teacher Yuna reopened her school. The building had been damaged during the invasion. Parents and soldiers worked together to repair it. They painted the walls with bright colors. They planted a garden in the courtyard. On the first day of class, Yuna looked at her students. Some were new faces. Some were old ones, returned from the stars. Do-hyun sat in the front row, healthy and smiling again. "Today's lesson is about history," Yuna announced. "Who can tell me what the galaxy learned about humanity?" Last year, a young girl named Ara raised her hand. She was 8 years old, with curious eyes and a quick mind. "They learned not to take our kids?" she offered. Yuna smiled. "Close. They learned that humans are strange creatures. We fight among ourselves all the time. We disagree about everything. We are loud and messy and emotional. But when someone threatens our children, we become something else entirely." "What's that?" Do-hyun asked. "United. Determined. Unstoppable." Yuna looked out the window at the blue sky. The galaxy thought our emotions made us weak. They learned that our emotions make us strong. Love is not weakness. Anger is not weakness. Fear is not weakness. These feelings push us forward. They make us fight harder. They make us never give up. The children listened carefully. They were too young to fully understand. But someday they would. Someday, they would tell their own children about the year humanity broke 15,000 years of peace to bring them home. Ambassador Hansu retired after the war. He bought a small house with a garden and spent his days growing vegetables and watching the sky. He had seen enough politics for one lifetime. One afternoon, a young Velith diplomat came to visit him. She was nervous, uncertain, the first of her kind to seek peaceful contact since the war. I was sent to establish new relations, she explained. But I have a personal question, if you permit it. Hansu nodded. Ask, how do we prevent this from happening again? How do we ensure peace with humanity? Hansu thought about the question. He watched a child run through his garden, laughing at butterflies. The simple joy of it made him smile. It is simple, he said finally. Do not touch our children. Do not threaten our families. Do not mistake our kindness for weakness. The Velith diplomat nodded slowly. And if we follow these rules, then you will find no better friends in the universe. Humans are loyal. We protect those we care about. We share what we have. We build together. We dream together. He looked at her with kind eyes. The same fire that burns our enemies warms our friends. Choose which side you want to stand on. The diplomat bowed respectfully. I understand. Do you? Hansu asked. Your people ruled the galaxy for 15,000 years. Now you must learn to share it. That will not be easy. No, she admitted. It will not. But we will learn. We have no choice. Hansu smiled. You have the most important choice of all. You can choose to be our allies or our enemies. The galaxy tried once to hurt us. It did not go well for anyone. I suggest you choose differently. He stood and walked to his garden. The child was still chasing butterflies, still laughing. Look at her, Hansu said. That is what we fight for. Not power. Not territory. Not glory. Just the chance for our children to chase butterflies in peace. The diplomat watched the scene for a long moment. We have much to learn from you, she said quietly. Yes, Hansu agreed. You do. But we are patient teachers. And we have plenty of time. So, the sun set over Earth. Ships from a dozen species crossed the sky in peace. The war was over. The children were home. And humanity had taken its place among the stars. Not as newcomers. Not as primitives. Not as inferiors. As equals. As protectors. As parents who would burn the universe for their children, and who had proven they meant every word.